ఇది ఉందా అక్కర్లేదా ఎక్కడుంది ఇదేనా okay, last class we discussed about locators topic. Day 3 locators topic we have discussed. So we understood how to write the XPaths and how to write set of driver instructions by ID and by name. We understood. Okay, in today's class we are going to learn about new topic as drop down. Okay, how to handle a drop down. So far we have seen how to handle a text field and how to handle a login buttons or submit buttons. We have seen save buttons like that. Let's go to Orange HRM application. Okay, so here I am navigating to application admin 123 and I'm clicking on login button and I want to automate a scenario, a drop down scenario I want to automate. So once I navigate to home page and I'm clicking on admin, after that I'm clicking on organization and after that I'm clicking on locations and I'm clicking on add button. Here I want to enter location name. Okay, location name is Hyderabad. Location name is Hyderabad and country as I'm selecting as India. So here I want to select అందరు కొంచెం దగ్గరికి వేసుకో బాగా అంటే వాళ్ళకి కూడా కనబడ స్క్రీన్ రావట్లేదు ఇక్కడికి వేసుకున్నప్పుడు కొంచెం స్క్రీన్ ఇష్యూ ఉంది, కనెక్షన్ ఇష్యూ ఉంది, సో టీవీ కనెక్ట్ అవ్వట్లేదు. ఓకేనా, ఇక్కడికి రండి ఇటువైపు రండి ఈ డైరెక్షన్. So here I want to enter scenario is I want to automate a scenario. I want to create a location name as Hyderabad and I want to select some list of values as Hyderabad. Okay, so after that I want to click on save. So the Hyderabad record has been created just now. So this is the record has been created. Okay, so I want to automate a scenario. So how to handle a drop down? So drop down means we have to select one of the value from the drop down. So to handle drop down, the Selenium, how to handle a drop down in Selenium. So that is the part we are going to discuss. So let me open. Okay. Here I navigated to login page and application URL and I'm navigated to login page. After that I'm clicking on admin. After that I'm clicking on organization. After that I'm clicking on locations. See here I'm using locator name as link text. Okay, because this is an hyperlink. And after that I'm clicking on add button. And after clicking on add button, so which means admin locations, and after clicking on add button I navigated to this page. So now I want to select some drop down value here. So to handle a drop down we need to write 2 lines of code. Okay, let me write. We have to write 2 lines of code. What are those 2 lines? This one. So these are the 2 lines we have to write. So what is this select? Select is a class given by Selenium team. So let me expand my import package supporting libraries. So Selenium. So this is the select class. See, if I'm not importing this one, so that select class will be highlighted as a error. See, select drop down one is equal to new select of driver dot find element by id location underscore country. Okay, so now let's go to here. So what is the id has been given for this one? What is the id has been given? Location underscore country. So if you'll click on inspect on this web element here, so id has been given as location underscore country. So I'm writing like this: select drop down one is equal to new select of, so within this brackets I'm writing the locator. So driver dot find element by id location underscore country, so that I can get all the drop down values. And so I can get all the drop down values here, and I want to select a particular drop down value. So drop down one dot select by visible text of India. Suppose whatever value is there, I'm selecting. So whatever value it is visible to you, that value we have to select. See here, India. Okay, so here that is the value I have selected. Suppose in the drop down it is there capital I. Suppose if you are giving small I, that value cannot be selected. So whatever value that is visible in the drop down, so you have to give that one. And here it is showing error, right? Just keep the mouse over here. So it will ask you to import supporting library. Just click on the import section. This one, import openqa.org.openqa means that is our supporting libraries. org.openqa.selenium. So this is the package name we need to ensure. So just I'm clicking on this one. See, that is the one, it came automatically. org.openqa.selenium UI supporting library. So to handle drop down, we have to write 2 lines of code. One is I have to create the drop down object. You can create drop down object name whatever you want. And from the drop down, I'm selecting the required value like this. Okay, so let me run my program. So we will run the program up to here. 1 second. So after that, I will explain about these lines. Just wait for some time. So let's see the India value has been selected or not, or we will select some other value. 1 second. I want to select Iceland. Okay. Okay, right. Let me run my program. So the Iceland value has been selected. Okay, so like that we can able to handle the drop down. Okay, so the next point is in how many ways the drop down can be handled. Okay, the drop down can be handled in 3 ways. Just now we have seen drop down 2 dot select by visible text. Now let's go to how to handle second approach. Drop down 2 dot select by index of 2 I have given. Index means the drop down contains some set of values. So the index value will be started from 0. 0 means this one. 1 means this one. 2 means Albania. Okay. So that means select by index of 2 means Albania value will be selected. Okay. See, Albania got selected. Okay. So the second approach also we understood. And the last approach is, so I'm commenting this line, so it won't execute. The last one is this one. Drop down to whatever object I have created. So drop down to dot select by value of is. Okay, what does this line means? So let's see. So I'm inspecting this web element. So this is the select code the developer has written for this web element. What I am doing, I'm doing copy and I'm doing copy element. Okay. And I'm pasting in my notepad. So developer has written, this is the code. Okay. This is the code the developer has written. So let's understand. So this is the select class has been written for to handle drop down. So India. So where is that India? Okay. So for India, this is the visible text. So for every visible text, developer has given some value. IN, India, Israel, Iceland, IS he has given. So based on value also we can select the drop down. Okay. So if you want to select based on value, you need to write select by value. Suppose if I will write IS means Iceland will be selected. If I will write India means, so whatever value he has written, so that value I'm writing. Suppose if I will write ID, Indonesia will be selected. So we can select the drop down based on its value also. Okay. Every value contains some visible text. So Indonesia got selected. So the drop down can be handled in three ways. That's what we understood now. Okay. So drop down dot select by index, drop down dot select by visible text, drop down dot select by value. You can follow any one of the approach. Generally, most of the cases select by visible text people will follow. Okay. So that is the one. So how to handle a drop down scenario we have automated. Okay. So right now let's go to the next one. I want to know the drop down, how many web elements has been, how many objects, how many web elements has been loaded in the drop down value. So India, Bangladesh, Switzerland, Canada, all the countries list has been loaded. Okay. So some list of countries. Okay. So there are some list of web elements are there. The drop down contains some list of web elements. So here drop down dot get options is a predefined method. So drop down dot get options, and I'm storing all the list of web elements here. List of web element options is equal to, so this we can call it as an option object. Okay. List of web element options is equal to, so so this options contains all the list of values. Okay. And after that, how many values, options dot size of, so number of drop down values or number of country values, it will be printed here. So is it 214 or is it 220? So number of drop down values now. So number of countries you can write. Okay. Number of countries, countries, um, that value will be printed. And I want to print each and every country name in the drop down. Okay. So then we have to write some for loop. Okay. So this is the syntax if you want to print a drop down value. So for web element option one and options, these are the options. So all the list of values, it is stored into this one. So each, so option one dot get text I'm writing. So first option one dot get text value, it will be printed. Second option one dot get text value, it will be printed. And third one option one dot get text value, it will be printed. So like that, how many options are there, it will be automatically iterated and each and every value will be printed in the console here. Okay. So now let's run the program and we'll see. So here once Iceland got selected, let's understand each and every value. So first number of country values will be printed here. After that, each and every drop down value will be printed. So to print a drop down value, we have to write for loop like this. So now let's see. See, everything has been printed. See, number of country values, how many it is showing? 240. Okay, and I want to print each and every drop down value. See, it has been printed. So options, so option 1 dot get text, option 1 dot get text. So this, so like that, this for loop will be iterated how many number of drop down values it contains. So like that, this option we can able to print all the drop down values like this. Okay, so so in the interview, people will ask, okay, how do you know how many drop down values are there in a drop down? They will ask. Okay, so in that case, first of all, how can you know how many number of drop down values it contains? They will ask you this question. So then in that case, you have to tell these lines. And whenever you are telling these lines, the first point is you have to tell, for the select class, I will create a drop down object and drop down dot get options. Okay, and options dot size of is equal to, I can store into some integer variable, and I can come to know how many number of country values it contains. And after that, to print each and every value, I will write a for loop. That's it. Okay, so here you can write option 1, option 2. Suppose if you are writing option 2, you can write whatever you want. Option 2 and option 2 dot get text. So totally we understood how to handle a drop down. How to handle the drop down? Drop down can be handled in 3 ways. So that is the first point we have learned. And what is the class we will use? Select class. Okay, this is the select class we will use. By using select class, we can create a drop down object. So drop down can be handled in 3 ways. And how can you come to know there are how many number of values the drop down contains? So you have to explain this logic. And how to print a list of web elements? So you have to explain this logic. So to print a list of values, first of all, we have to create the options. So that is the point you have to explain. After that, we need to explain this. Okay, so that's it on the drop down point. So I will give you a scenario. You can do the exercise on the drop down. Job titles. No, not here. So you can do organization, locations, add location. Now you can do the scenario for name and country and these things. Add location part, you can do the automation part. Okay. So now let's go to the next point. So now we have completed drop down. Okay, so has anybody any doubts in drop down before moving on to the next topic? Okay, right, hope everyone is clear. So now let's go to the next point. Okay, before moving on to the next topic, I want to tell you one more simple topic in the locators topic. I have left one more topic, XPath. So we have seen TC03 underscore XPath program. Okay, so how we have written XPaths, we have already seen. Okay, and now I'm going to explain the next topic as this one. I want to tell you about this program, TC03 underscore XPath. Okay, so here I'm writing all the setup driver instructions by XPath. Password, login button, admin1, nationality. Sir, you haven't written any of the XPath in the current Java class, and how the system is identifying those XPath values. Okay, previous lab, what we have done, we are writing all the XPaths in the same Java class here itself. Public static string username is equal to public static string password is equal to we are writing. But here in this program, I don't have anything. So, but I have written or.username, or.password. So or is a class, and variable is a method name. Okay, let me go to, I have imported. Okay, 1 second. I have imported a common util package. Where is my common util package? So this is the common util package. So import common util package name dot star. So I can able to access all the Java class files. Okay, so here my war.java. So what is this war.java? I will show you. So OR dot username. So I'm going back to here. So this is my class name. Public static string username is equal to public static string password is equal to public static string login button is equal to. So I'm writing all the web element XPaths in this Java class. I'm writing all the XPaths. I'm writing all the web element XPaths in this Java class. So how we will call static methods? Class name dot method name. Same in the same way, we can call the static variables. Okay, var dot username, var dot password, var dot login button. So the same way I'm calling var dot username, var dot password, var dot login button, var dot admin one, so var dot nationality one. So I no need to write in every Java class the XPaths and everything. What we are doing so far, we are writing all the XPaths for every class. Every time we have to write XPaths globally here for every class. But is it required if I will follow this approach? Not required. Suppose if I want to do login scenario, simply I can copy and paste it because I'm referring my XPath from var.java class. So just simply I'm calling var.login button, var.password. So if you want to click on the var.password, just press control button and you can click on it. So like this, var means object repository. Okay, how do you manage object repository in Selenium? That is the question people will ask in the interviews. Object repository means maintaining of web element XPaths or ID or CSS selector in particular Java class. Okay, so you are managing all the XPaths globally at one Java class. So do I need to write every time? Is it required? Not required. I can create some var. I have created some var.java class. So public class var, and I'm writing all my XPaths or passwords or login button or anything. So I'm able to call this one. Okay, na? So like that I'm calling var.username by ID, var.username by XPath, var.password. So like that I'm writing. So instead of writing every time in every class login button, XPath, password every time, you can write globally at one Java class and you can just refer that one var dot. That's it. Okay, so that is the easiest way to manage your web element XPaths. Okay, no need to write in every class. Okay, now we have completed up to drop down. Okay, so we have completed day 1, day 2, day 3 and day 4 topics. So now today I'm moving on to the data provider concept. Okay, so let me open the first program. Okay. Before
Excuse
going
me,
into
sir.
this program, yes.
Actually, could you please explain me one more time that OR?
OR.
I didn't. Yes. Means why?
Okay, fine. I will tell you. So I want to automate a scenario. 1 second, I will show you. Where is this one? A1 underscore day 01. This is the scenario you want to automate. Okay, A1 underscore day 01. This is the scenario. Okay, I'm going to copy this program and I'm pasting here. React jobs 3 I have written. Okay, now I want to automate my login page. Okay, now I want to automate my login page. What I am doing, I want to inspect each and every web element XPath. I have to identify each and every web element XPath and do copy XPath, and I have to paste it here. Public static string, I have to write like this. right? I have to declare like this, and if I want to write some username line value, what I am doing, just simply how I am writing, find element by XPath of this username I am writing. If it is in the same class, you no need to specify the class name. Okay, so username you are writing. Okay, this is my like this I have written. I am automating one more scenario. So password, so every time what you need to do, you need to inspect each and every web element XPath, and you need to specify it. You need to specify it. Okay, suppose is TC01 add jobs you are doing, TC01 add log, add locations you are doing, TC01 add skills you are doing. But in all the pages, login username, password, and login button XPaths, do I need to write every time? Is it required to write every time? It's not at all required. Okay, you can maintain some. So I'm not writing here. So how my system will know what is this XPath? It is not, it doesn't know what is this mean, because there is no XPath value. So how can I access? I can access, so I can import my package name. So import var, okay, already imported. If it is a specific Java class, I have to specify my var, common util dot var. So let me go to my var dot username. And okay, so I no need to write XPaths in every web, in every test case automation. Okay, because these are required globally for every test case. So I'm accessing from there. That's it. Okay, got it. Somebody has asked out. Is it clear now?
Yes, 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 clear now.
So no need to write XPath in every class. You can write all the application related web element XPaths globally in var.java file. Okay,
Sir,
and you can simply call from there. So that half of the time it will be saved. No need to inspect every web element XPaths and in every test case automation. So that's what I want.
sir, another doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, let's say if we are inspecting some other application, sir, not Orange HRM, but some other HR application, web application. So for that also, there will be a Java class, sir, like over import.
You can maintain n number of applications in an XPaths. It is a reference you can able to access.
Okay. So for every web
If it is
application,
Amazon, if it is an Amazon application, Flipkart application, Orange HRM application, you are maintaining globally at one place. If you are specify var dot, it will identify that XPath and it will, you can able to access. Just it's a common repository. Okay, so it's not depends on your application. Just you are storing the web element XPath value. That's it only. There is no logic.
Okay, so whatever application it is, if we mention import dot over directly, we don't need to give the.
Yeah, it is a reusable component. That var means object repository. Okay, it's a reusable for across multiple test case automation. You can use these XPaths and multiple places. Just if it is Amazon, the XPath might this instead of button login, they will give you login. So in that case, what you will do, login button one. So you will say Amazon application, right? So you will say Amazon. Here you will write var.a login Amazon. So for your easy understanding, you will maintain like this. So var.amazon underscore login button you will call. That's it.
Okay. Clear, sir. Clear.
So now we understood completed drop downs and locators. Now we are going to discuss next topic as very most important topic. Okay, data provider. Okay, what is a data provider? Now let's, before moving on to this topic, let me go to the, so where we have done the first exercises, A1 underscore day 01. Parameterization concept we have completed. Add jobs to not this program. I want to take a program where parameterization has been completed. 1 second. Right. I want to take this program and A1 underscore day 0. Okay. So this is the program. So this is the program is going to execute and your job record will be created in the system. So that is the lab we have seen, add job scenario we have seen. Okay. And here my scenario is, okay. Here my scenario is, this is my test. This is my main test. This is my main test is executing with the set of input data, right? Here my main test is executing with this set of input data. And let me go to, so I want to execute the same test. Okay. And I want to change my sales to and sales to description and sales to note. So I want to execute my same test again for the second set of input data. So which means I want to create sales to description and sales to note. Okay. And again I want to execute my test. Okay, sales 3 description and sales 3 note. So I want to execute my test, the same main test with third set of input data. So I don't want to change any of this logic. And I don't want to touch any of these below methods also. But how can I execute my program, my main test? Okay, for different sets of input data. Just I'm changing my input data. So far, what is the approach that we will know? Every time what we are doing, every time manually I'm changing my input data and I'm running my program. Okay, so here it is taking my manual intervention. Okay, but I don't want. I want to execute this main test for 3 different sets of input data. So my test want to execute first set of input data, and again my test set has to execute second set of input data, and again my test has to execute third time for third set of input data. Okay, so that concept we can call it as a data provider. Just your input values are changing, so that in the system sales 1 record will be created, sales 2 record will be created, and sales 3 record will be created. So that concept we can call it as a data provider. Okay, so what is a data provider? Or is it the same concept people will also call it as a data driven test. Okay, the same test people will call it as a data driven test. So the data is driving, okay, multiple times for different sets of input data. Okay, so how can we define the definition? The same test can be executed multiple times. I will note down the definition here. A same test can be executed multiple times for different sets of input data. Is known as, okay, data provider or data driven test. So this concept we can call it as a, okay, let's see how to execute this test case multiple times. Okay, so I'm going to use data provider syntax. So when I'm going to use my data provider syntax, these global variables is not at all required to me. So I'm simply commenting. So this concept I'm not using. I'm going to use my data provider concept. So let's go to here. So where is my data provider lab number 5? So just click on this one, copy the data provider syntax. So this is the step 1, Control C. So this is the method I have copied and I am pasting here. So data @data provider. So just like @test, I'm writing @data provider. Name is equal to orange one. You can write name whatever you want. And this is all completely syntax. Okay. So here I am giving my input data 3 times: test URL, username, password, and nationality. So these are the 4 variables is required: test URL, username, password, and okay, I need job title, job description, and job node, right? So I will do one thing: sales 1, sales 1 description, and sales 1 note. So this is the one I want to write. Okay, let me copy this line one more time. So finally, so like this is the syntax I have written. Okay, so here I want to give sales 2. So here I want to give sales 2 description. Here I want to give sales 2 note. And here I am giving sales 3. Here I am giving sales 3 description. Here I am giving sales 3 note. So if I will execute my test, so my data provider contains 3 sets of input data. So this is the step 1. And the step 1 part is completed here. My test data is ready in step 1. And step 2, you have to connect with your data provider. So connect with the data provider. This is the second point you need to write. Data provider is equal to whatever name you have given, that name you need to, so that your test will connect with the data provider. So this is step 2. So to get the input data, we have to write, this is the syntax. So your test will go and connect with the data provider, and it will execute for the first set of input data. Once it is executed, the test will execute second set of input data. After that, finally, it will execute for third set of input data. So you have to write, this is the step 2. Okay. And the last one is, here you have to mention every global variable. So here, see, it is showing error, right? So you need to mention those variables. String test URL. So this is the test URL. So this is the value it will come and store into this variable. Okay, string test URL, comma, string username, comma, string password, string job title. So this is the job title value. It will come to 4th parameter value. Okay, and string job description, and finally string job. Suppose you can press enter here, so it is easy to understand. So string test URL, string username, string password, string job title, string job description, and string job note. So whatever input values are there, I have given all my input global variables at method level signature. So this is step 3. Step 3 part completed. So to implement a data provider, we have to follow 3 steps. That's it. One is you have to copy the data provider syntax. Second one is your test needs to connect with your data provider. Otherwise, your test cannot be executed with the required input data. So you have to give the same name. And after that, finally, whatever variables you are using, these global variables, just you need to declare those global variables at method level signature, so that your test will be executed 3 times for different sets of input data. Okay, let me run my program. Okay. So application URL was started. your data is getting, say admin 123 values came to @test. So sales one record has been created. Again, second set of input data started. Open Chrome browser method was started, and again it's launching. Okay, second set of input data executed. So the record has been created. Control F and check what is the one sales. See, sales 1, 2, 3 records has been created. Okay, now let's go to the execution console also. See, this add jobs test method, our main method name is add jobs test. It was executed for 3 sets of input data. See, so sales 1, sales 2, sales 3. So your 3 times your test was passed. That is what it is showing. Previously your test is executing only one time if it is global variables. If it is this one, it will execute multiple times. Suppose if you take any bank application, so there are 1,000 customers data is there. Okay, and how can you have to execute a scenario, and you want to execute a scenario 1,000 times because you want to create all that data, you need to feed that data into an application. So in that case, the data provider concept is required. So you have to know the background implementation, how we can implement data driven test. So totally from this program, I haven't changed my main program. Just in the main program, just I connected this step and step. So this is the part, step 2 and step 3 part only I have done changes. Remaining nothing I have changed. I haven't changed any of my methods. Okay, simply I copied my data provider syntax and I have ready with my input data. That's it. Okay, so what is a data provider means? A same test can be executed multiple times for different sets of input data is known as data driven test. Okay, so nothing but your data provider. So the data provider syntax is like this. You no need to remember any of the line. Simply you can copy and paste it. Okay, how much time we have left? Just
10 minutes.
we have left 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes. Still not showing. Okay, so now everyone is clear what is a data provider concept. So while implementing this data provider concept, take the program wherever the methods has been parameterized. Okay, copy that program and paste it freshly in your package and comment all the global variables and just copy the syntax of from data provider lab 1 and change the input data and try to implement step 2 and step 3. Over. Your test will be executed for different sets of input data.
Sir,
Yes, yes.
every set of data కి అది ఎవ్రీ టైం లాగిన్ అవుతుంది కదా, అలా అవ్వకుండా ఓన్లీ సెట్ ఆఫ్ డేటా మాత్రమే అవడం.
Our concept we are going to learn in lab number 12. So for every set of input data, do we need to do from login? Can we continue from admin nationalities? Ade kada mi question.
అదే
Same session lo second set of input data akkad nunde continue ayipochu kada anedi. So yeah, that concept we are going to learn. So advanced technique, how to improve. So basic part lo idi nechukovali. Second lab lo dan enhancement to data driven test enhancements part we are going to learn in lab number 13. So same session, multiple times session open చేయటం అవసరం మనకి. It's not required. Just our objective is we need to create one more test data in the application. Okay, so in the same session admin nationalities నుండి నా మెథడ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతే చాలు కదా. థర్డ్ టైం కూడా I have to navigate admin nationalities and admin job titles. I have to create from there. So no need to open fresh session. But what is happening every time here? What is happening every time here? So I'm calling the required methods. Ee method call chestunnanu kabatti every time adi open avutundi. So how to write conditions, if else conditions, those things we will learn in the next classes. Okay, so if I will tell all the topics at a time, we will do. So people will get confused. Okay. So everyone is clear in the data provider concept, the first concept. And one second, I want to tell you in the data provider concept, there is one more second topic is also there. Okay, I'm not changing much at all. So just now we have seen data provider syntax of copy one. Okay, now I am going to do one more concept as data provider syntax, another approach. Control C, I'm going back to my program A1 underscore day 01. I'm going back to my program here. And I'm pasting here. You can use, okay, so the here my data provider name is test1. Here I'm changing my data provider method name is test2. So here I'm changing my data provider name is orange2. So here I'm going to read my input data from data provider 2. Okay, so you can write data provider syntax either this approach or this approach. Okay, so now let's understand the difference. So generally, if you go for any of the interviews, you can write the syntax of this approach only, because most of the people will aware this syntax only. No other people doesn't know about this syntax. Okay, this is the easiest way. And so this is also another approach to write a data provider syntax. Okay, I'm creating a data provider object array. So we can create a data provider object array like this. So 2 rows means this is first row, this is second row. So 2 rows, 4 columns. So 2 rows and 4 columns. So, but I want how many rows? 1, 2, 3 rows. Okay. 2 rows and how many columns is required? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want 6 columns. Okay. And I have to give input data 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 6 columns is enough. So I have to write. So once again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is first row. So first 0th row, 0th column, 0th row, first column, 0th row, second column, 0th row, third column, 0th row, fourth column, 0th row, fifth column. So first row, 0th column, first row, first column, first row, first, second column, first row, third column, and first row, fourth column, first row, fifth column. One second. So just I'm making my input data ready. So that's it only. So my input data is ready now. So previously we have created sales 1, right? So this time I will create sales 4. Sales 4 description and sales 4 note. And here I am going to create sales 5. Sales 5 description. And I'm going to create sales 5 note. So my input data is ready. So I want to create only 2 sets of input data. If it is third set of input data, data of 2, 0, data of 2, 1, data of 2, 2, like that I will create. But here what I am doing, just I am creating 2 sets of input data only. 0, 1. So just I'm creating 2 rows only. So that's why I have mentioned 2 rows and 6 columns. So the index will be started with the 0. So like that. So if I will execute my program, so the data will be read it from the data provider orange2. So my test will connect with the orange2. Okay. So let me run my program. Anyway, I will share you this A1 underscore day 01 package. Okay. So what, this Zoom connection is disconnected, continuing or not? Over? Huh?
No, sir, it's continuing.
Okay. Okay. So sales 4 record has been created. something went wrong. So it's not issue, something application issue. Okay. So let's go to the second point. So the first iteration was started and the second iteration also complete. So second iteration, it has failed. Okay. So 1 second. Cell 7. So something went wrong actually due to application issue. So I'm rerunning my program. So today's topic is data provider. Okay. So we can execute test multiple times. Okay. I think application is going under maintenance. It's not able to log in to application. You can try the hands on, you can do the practice after 1 hour. So whenever the application is downtime, so this credentials, it won't work. So after half an hour or 1 hour, the application will up and running. You can try. Okay. So totally the data provider concept can be implemented in 2 ways. So this one approach we have seen, straightforward, very simple. And but in the interviews, whenever people will ask, so we need to write, this is the syntax. How do you create data provider object array? So you need to mention this one. Okay, 2 rows and 6 columns. If it is so 2 rows means this is first row, this is second row. Okay, so like this. So this is the syntax you have to specify. And to connect with the data provider, you need to tell the 3 steps how the data provider concept can be implemented. First, we need to write the data provider syntax, and the second step is data provider is equal to data provider name. And step 3, you have to specify all the list of global variables. Or okay, so that's it for today. And so we have completed. What are the topics we have completed for today? Drop down and test engine data provider. Okay. Anyway, I'm uploading all the videos. I think I have already shared. Okay, let me show you this part. I'm uploading for this batch videos. 1 second. June. I have uploaded all the videos into this channel. Okay. So anyway, I have copied and so I'm uploading all the videos here on weekend. I have already uploaded, all the videos are available. So for whatever classes that we have completed. So see the channel name I have given Selenium Java June 25, 2021. So all the videos are available in the sequence, whatever topics that we have completed. Okay. So you can go through these video recordings, and today's recording also I will upload. Okay. Once Aditya will upload the video, I will upload here. Okay. So just refer this channel name. Anyway, link itself I have given. So channel name I have given like this. Okay. It's not copied. Okay. So that's it I want to tell. So that's it for today. Anybody is having any doubts? No. These are practical labs. Generally day 1, day 2, day 3, all the labs I am giving. So just you can do the hands-on copy. So these are the exercises that I am giving as part of demos. These are not part of labs. So somebody is asking doubt. Okay. Anyway, I am going to share this today's topic packages. I'm in this file. Take the labs, today's lab in the data provider topic. Okay. Desktop. Once this zip file is extracted in your system, so copy this A1, copy this package, copy this folder, copy, and go to your src test Java here and paste it here, so that it will ask you to override. Click on yes to all, so that these all the programs will comes and you can able to see. Okay. So that's it. Anybody is having any doubts? Okay. Anyway, refer all my videos here. So all the videos are also available. You can go through the offline as well. Okay. That's it for today.